Hi everyone, I'm Linda Reimer, one of the librarians at the Southeast Bend County Library. Welcome to Library Connections, our weekly readers, viewers, and listeners advisory video cast. Enjoy. Library Connections number 98. This is the Friday, April 29th, 2022 edition of Library Connections. And I don't know where April has gone, but it's almost out the door and gone, so welcome May and the good weather that it will no doubt bring. But I am digressing. Moving right along to the top 5 fiction bestsellers for this week from the New York Times. At number 1, Dreamtown by David Baldacci, the third book in the Archer series. Archer, Dash, and Callahan search for a missing screenwriter who had a dead body turn up in her home. At number 2, Beautiful by Danelle Steele. A supermodel deals with the effects of a terrorist attack at an airport in Brussels on both her life and appearance. At number 3, It Ends With Us by Colleen Hoover. A battered wife, raised in a violent home, attempts to halt the cycle of abuse. At number 4, The 7 Husbands of Evelyn Hugo by Taylor Jenkins Reid. A movie icon recounts stories of her loves and career to a struggling magazine writer. And at number 5, Where the Crawdads Sing by Delia Owens. In a quiet town on the North Carolina coast, in 1969, a young woman who survived alone in the marsh becomes a murder suspect. Moving on to the top 5 nonfiction bestsellers for this week, at number 1, The Body Keeps the Score by Bessel Kulk. How trauma affects the body and mind, and innovative treatments for recovery. At number 2, Freezing Order by Bill Broder. The author of Red Notice tells his story of becoming Vladimir Putin's enemy by uncovering a $230 million tax refund scheme. At number 3, Playing With Myself by Randy Rainbow. A memoir by the 3-time Emmy-nominated comedian known for his online musical and political satires. At number 4, Hello, Molly by Molly Shannon with Sean Wisely. The comedic actor shares stories of family tragedy and her years as a star of Saturday Night Live. At number 5, Left on 10th by Delia Efron. The author and screenwriter describes losing her sister and husband to cancer, finding love again, and receiving a leukemia diagnosis. Which, lest one think that's a downer of a book, I think it's a very upbeat book. I heard the author on NPR. She was interviewed for Fresh Air, and she talks about her treatment for leukemia, and she has recovered from it. So it's a hopeful memoir. Of course, I like the idea of having positive things happen to you when you get past a certain age. I'm not quite past a certain age that Delia Efron is, but I'm past a certain age at this point. I certainly qualify for AARP, and I'm digressing. Moving right along. Our first recommended read for this week is the new novel The Lifeguards by Amanda Ward. For struggling single mom Liza, high-powered real estate agent Whitney, and new American citizen and wife to an oil heir, Annette, their 15-year-old sons are the center of their perfect worlds. Best friends, like their moms are best friends. So when Charlie, Xavier, and Bobcat come back from the Greenbelt, claiming they found a woman's body, the women close ranks to protect their own. Austin Police Detective Salvatore Ravello, a recent widower with 2 kids of his own, is under pressure to solve the case. The Greenbelt is home to Austin's popular swimming holes, though some areas are known more for drug deals and shady paths that lead nowhere. As the dead woman's identity is uncovered, so is a surprising connection she has to one of the boys. Ward balances a police procedural with domestic suspense, and by alternating narrators among the women, their sons, and Salvatore, she keeps the focus on the emotional toll the crime takes on everyone, while a chorus of Austin mommies add humorous commentary, touching on issues like class, gentrification, and opioid abuse. The Lifeguards is a rich piece of relationship fiction and a summer thriller in one. And that's the book list review, and that sounds like the perfect book to add to your summer reading list, because summer is coming. Our second recommended read for this week is the new novel Nettle and Bone by T. Kingfisher. And that, by the way, is his pseudonym. Her given name is Ursula Vernon, which is such a great name. I don't know why she uses T. Kingfisher, but she does, and I'm digressing. Let me tell you about the book Nettle and Bone. This deeply satisfying and darkly funny feminist fairy tale from Hugo Award winner Kingfisher finds its unlikely heroine in Mara, youngest princess of the Harbor Kingdom. Mara is better at knitting than politicking, and she is relieved to be sent to a convent while her older sisters make political marriages to nobles from the Northern Kingdom. However, you knew there was going to be a however, and there is. However, when Mara learns that the wicked Prince Forling has murdered her older sister and seems likely to murder his abused second wife, Mara's middle sister, as well, Mara takes action. She assembles a ragtag team bent on overthrowing Forling, including Bone Dog, a resurrected dog skeleton, a dust wife, a sort of necromancer with a demonically possessed chicken for a familiar, a suicidally honorable and surprisingly diplomatic knight, rescued from a Christina Rossetti-esque goblin market, and a frazzled fairy godmother who can only grant gifts of good health. Goodness me. The plot snaps along as quickly as a good joke, and beneath the whimsy, there's an underlying sympathy and sincerity that enables Kingfisher to handle tricky issues like domestic violence with great compassion and care. At its heart, a story of good people doing their best to make the unjust world a fairer place. This marvelous romp will delight Kingfisher fans and fairy tale lovers alike. And that's the Starred Publishers Weekly Review. Moving on to our first audiobook recommendation for this week, it's Mcherrin's Slow Horses. This is the first book in his Slough House series. And as you can see on the cover there of the audio, that's Gary Oldman, who stars in the Apple TV Plus series based on the books. So you can listen to the audio, read the book, and watch the TV series. So having said that, let me tell you about the audiobook, which is read by Gerard Doyle. Slough House is an administrative oubliette for British intelligence. Spooks who have screwed up in a big way are assigned there, and no one has ever been returned to real service. In spook speak, the denizens of Slough House are slow horses, objects of scorn, and fridge magnets. River Cartwright, the ostensibly protagonist of this crackling good spy thriller farce, wants to be the first slow horse to force his own resurrection to MI5. And he sees his chance when an apparently inept right-wing group kidnaps a Pakistani youth and threatens to behead him on a live webcast. Saying more about the plot might spoil the fun. Mcherrin's sixth novel, and the first one in this series, is filled with acidic wit and engaging misdirection, and readers will need to adjust to his narrative style, but the rewards are great. Slow Horses is a fine thriller with enough suspense, double dealing, and mayhem for thriller devotees. But it is also wonderfully funny, farcical, deeply cynical skewering of politics, bureaucrats, turf wars, and the great game. And that's the book list review. And that's interesting, that term, the great game. I haven't heard that in years since I saw the 1950 film Kim with Errol Flynn and Dean Stockwell as the boy in the lead role, who also, by the end of that adventure, wants to participate in the great spy game. And one assumes that he does as he rides off into the sunset with Errol Flynn at the end of the movie. But anyway, if you're interested in the film Kim, you might check that out, and check out Mcherrin series Slough House, and Slow Horses in particular, since it's the first book in the series. Moving on to our second audiobook recommendation for this week, it's the Samantha Chang novel, Inheritance. The audio is read by Eunice Wong. In China, in 1931, two sisters are coping with their grief in the aftermath of their mother's suicide. Cool, reserved Junan makes dreamy Yunnan her primary focus and anchor, while their preoccupied father gambles away his fortune. As part of a reconciliation of his debts, he promises Yunnan in marriage to the young Lieutenant Liang. Although she struggles to preserve her distance and her dignity, Yunnan falls deeply in love with her new husband. But her upbringing and her mother's influence render her cold and possessive. When the young couple is separated during the Japanese invasion, Yunnan sends Yunnan to stay with her husband, unconsciously setting in motion the betrayal that will haunt their family for generations. The novel, set in both China and the U.S., is narrated by Yunan's daughter, and its inherent drama is heightened by the delicacy and restraint with which it is told. Chang fulfills the promise of her haunting short story collection Hunger with an elegant first novel that seems impossibly wise about the strictures of love and culture. And that's the book list review. Our first streaming recommendation for this week is the fun new movie Apollo 10.5, A Space-Age Childhood. This is brand new. You can stream it from Netflix. It stars Jack Black, Bill Wise, and Lee Eddy, or I guess I should say it stars the voices of. It is animated, although I would say this is for everyone. It's not just for kids. So briefly about the movie. Houston, Texas, 1969. The triumphant moment of the first moon landing comes to life through the eyes of a boy with intergalactic dreams of his own. And you can see a photo of the animation there. Looks pretty good to me, and if you like the 60s, if you like science and technology, check out Apollo 10.5. I mean, I'm a big fan of this kind of stuff. I remember growing up with Tang, because the astronauts drank Tang. We had to drink Tang too, so this is sort of my vintage would like this kind of stuff. And yes, I'm a Generation Xer, but I'm digressing. So let's move along to our second streaming recommendation for this week, which is Outer Range Season 1, created by Brian Watkins and starring Josh Brolin, Imogen Poots, and Lily Taylor. You can stream this from Amazon Prime Video. At first, this new series starring Josh Brolin as a Wyoming rancher might look like an attempt to draft off the success of Yellowstone. But don't be fooled by first impressions. Sure, a la Yellowstone, it's got a named star and a strong supporting cast. But does Yellowstone feature a mysterious disappearance and a supernatural black void? It does not, which both sets this series apart and makes it look pretty intriguing. So check out Outer Range Season 1, available through Amazon Prime Video now. And our final streaming recommendation for this week is Portugal Wild Land on the Edge. This is a documentary episode of PBS's Nature series, which just has been released. Let me tell you a little about the documentary. Once a great power linking the old and new worlds, Portugal has a history that is deeply tied to its landscapes and wildlife. A unique breed of wild horses roams Portugal's only national park. Horses small and hardy enough to have accompanied Portuguese explorers on ocean voyages around the globe. Today, the seas off the west coast of Nazir have become a mecca for surfers seeking the biggest waves in the world. Yet beneath the surface, delicate seahorses cling to kelp beds, and endangered monk seals shelter in the protected bays of Portugal's far-flung islands. On the red Mars-like landscapes of the Desertas Islands, the world's largest wolf spider hunts lizards and sometimes even its own kind. But the greatest wildlife spectacle here is the migration of millions of birds that stop over on their way from Scandinavia to Africa. Black-tailed godwits, pied avocet, vultures, and brightly colored flamingos rest and even stay the winter in this land at the very edge of Europe, a crossroads between north and south, land and sea. And that sounds like a great documentary to me, although I haven't seen it yet. Definitely on my to-watch list for this weekend. Our Hoopla recommendation for this week is the 2019 Jeff Goldblum album, I Shouldn't Have Told You This. This is big band / swing type music, and if you like that kind of music, check out I Shouldn't Have Told You This by Jeff Goldblum. Moving on to our next section, Next Week at the Library, offering a brief overview of library programs and activities for the week ahead of us. That's the week of May 2nd through the 7th, 2022. You can also find this information through our website. Just visit ssclibrary.org and click on the big calendar link you'll find on our homepage. And as a beginning note, registration is required for programs unless otherwise specified. You can register for programs through the library's website, by calling the library, or by simply dropping by. On Monday, May 2nd, we have a special program for kids. It's Celebrate National Ride a Bike Day, and you will meet Miss Sue in Fallbrook Park with your bike. The program runs from 3 to 4:30 p.m. You can drop in anytime with your bike. There will be bike riding and bike safety tips. And yes, we do know that the National Celebrate National Ride a Bike Day is on Sunday, May 1st, but of course the library is closed on Sundays, so we will be celebrating on Monday, May 2nd. On Tuesday, May 3rd, we have a whole host of programs at the library. The first is Adult Scrabble. It runs from 9 to 11 a.m. and is held in the library's reading room. Then from 9:15 to 10:15 a.m. we have Coffee, Tea, and English Online Vocabulary. This is a Zoom program. You can contact Mary Alice for the Zoom link or to register for the series. Then from 10 to 11 a.m. we have a special story time at Bluebird Trail Farm with our children's librarian, Sue McConnell. Bluebird Trail Farm is located at 951 Harris Road in Corning. You can join Miss Sue without registering, but if you have questions, contact Miss Sue at the library. Then we have Coffee, Tea, and English Online Conversation, a second Zoom program from 10:30 to 11 a.m. And finally, a special evening program, Nutrition and Cooking Workshop, Healthy Meals Using My Plate, from 4 to 6 p.m. This program is being held at the library, and you do have to register. Your hostess will be Caitlin from the Food Bank of the Southern Tier, and yes, indeed, there will be food samples. On Wednesday, May 4th, we have two programs to bring your attention to. The first is Mcherrin. It runs from 1 to 3 p.m. And then from 6 to 8 p.m., we have the Corning Adult Writers Group. The location for the Writers Group is at the library and via Zoom, so it's a hybrid program. And I don't think I mentioned that Mcherrin is being held at the library, but it is. So if you wish to register for either of these programs, contact Michelle Wells at the library. On Thursday, May 5th, we have two programs, Coffee, Tea, and English Book Club, which runs from 10 to 11:30 a.m. That's a Zoom program. And then our special monthly Art Explorer Story Time, being held at the Rockwell Museum, and our children's librarian Sue McConnell will be your hostess for that special program. And on Friday, May 6th, first up is the monthly book club review, which comes out in the morning. This is Michelle Wells's monthly book club review, and it will be available from the morning on through her Story Musing blog, which is found at storymusing.blogspot.com. Next up, we have Science Time with Miss Abby, which is a Facebook Live program and runs from 10 to 10:30 a.m. Then a new edition of Library Connections will be released at 1 o'clock. You'll be able to access that through Facebook or YouTube. And rounding out the week's programs, we have the second part of the Improv Camp mini-series. This is theater improv for young adults, and it runs from 4 to 5 p.m. It's an online program, so you have to contact our head honcho of all things young adult, Kayla Crane, to register for the program and the series. And here's our list of library programs contacts. Have questions about this weekly videocast? Let me know. You can send me an email. My email address is reimerl@stls.org. That's reimerl@stls.org. Or you can always drop by the library. Have questions about this weekly videocast? Let me know. You can send me an email. My email address is reimerl@stls.org. That's reimerl@stls.org. Or you can always drop by the library. Library hours, an important thing to know. The library is open Monday through Friday from 9 a.m. to 7 p.m. On Saturdays from 9 a.m. to 2 p.m. and we're closed on Sundays. The library's website is found at ssclibrary.org. You can find a whole host of useful information on our website. To offer you a Cliff Notes version today, I'm just going to talk about 3 sections of our homepage that will allow you to access cool stuff. The first is the link that says Calendar on our homepage. If you click that or tap it, you'll be redirected to our calendar of events, where you can register for programs and see what's going on both in the library and also the remote programming we have. If you click on the word Catalogs, a menu will open that will allow you to access all the library's catalogs for both physical content like print books and digital content like eBooks. And then if you click on the Resources menu link, seen at the top of the page there, also bordered in red, a menu will open. And you can do a bunch of stuff through that menu. You can register to vote. You can access anti-racism resources. But today I want to direct you to the Research and Learning page on our website. So that's the third option on the Resources menu, Research and Learning. And if you click or tap that, the Research and Learning page will display. And this lists some of the most popular databases that we offer, otherwise known as online research resources, but I find that a mouthful. So basically these are credible research resources, which I'm going to refer to as databases from now on. And these are available to you as a card holder, but they're not free to everyone everywhere. You get them as a card holder, but the library and/or the library system pays for these. And through our website, through the research and learning page on our website, you find some of the most popular ones you can access, including Mango Languages, if you want to learn another language, even pirate, and the Heritage Quest resource or database, and that's for genealogical research. And those are great resources. And if you're going to do really in-depth research, though, you want to go all the way down to the bottom of the page. In the last little paragraph there, it says, would you like to find more databases and resources? And then below that little paragraph in purple, it says, find the complete list of STLS databases here. That's the link you want to click on if you're doing in-depth research. It's going to redirect you to the databases page on the STLS website. And you see a photo of the top portion of that page on the right side of your screen. So here we see a large portion of the list of databases that you can access for in-depth research on tons of topics: criminal justice, the culinary arts, diversity, gender studies. There's a health database. If you want to do health research, there's one on opposing viewpoints. If you have to write a paper on a subject that has two sides to the story, which is usually the case, you can look at that. There are several academic resources if you're a college or high school student doing research. There's even one on gardening and landscaping, on the hospitality industry, and a home improvement collection too. So lots of stuff on the STLS databases page, which you can access through our website, or you can go directly to that page by typing www.stls.org/databases into your web browser. StarCat and the BookMine app. StarCat is the catalog of physical library materials available to all card holders of the public libraries in the Southern Tier Library System, otherwise known as STLS. STLS encompasses the public libraries in Steuben, Chemung, Yates, Schuyler, and Allegheny counties. You can access StarCat online at starcat.stls.org. That's starcat.stls.org. Or, as you might imagine, there's an app for that. It's called BookMine, and it's spelled a little differently. It's BookMyne, and that will give you direct access to StarCat through your mobile device, and you can find the BookMine app in your app store. The digital catalog and its companion app Libby. The digital catalog too is available to all card holders of all Southern Tier Library System member libraries, and you can find it online at stls.overdrive.com, or you can download the Libby app found in your app store to your mobile device. The digital catalog features eBooks, audiobooks, and a handful of streaming videos. Hoopla. The Hoopla catalog features eBooks, comic books, full-length albums, downloadable audiobooks, and streaming videos, including both TV shows and movies. All Hoopla items are available for instant checkout for Southeast Steuben County Library card holders with a maximum of 6 checkouts per month. And if you're listening to this and you're thinking and watching this and you're thinking, well, why is it just for Corning Library card holders or SSC Library card holders? That's because this particular service, Hoopla, is one that the Southeast Steuben County Library pays for. The others, the digital catalog and of course StarCat, are collection-wide catalogs, and all member libraries contribute to them. So that's what the difference is. If you want to check out the Hoopla catalog online, you go to hoopladigital.com, and of course there's an app, Hoopla, for your mobile device. Communicating with the library. If you have questions about library services, you are welcome always to go the traditional route and simply give us a call. The The library's phone number is 607-936-3713. You can also connect with the library through social media. The library has pages on Facebook, Twitter, YouTube, and Instagram. Library blogs. The library has 5 blogs we'd like to draw your attention to. There's the Book Club for Adults blog, which is found at SSCLbook.club, and is pretty much what you would expect. It's information about the monthly book club for adults. There's the Corning NY History blog, which is our local history blog, which is found at corningnyhistory.com. Creation Stationery, the Creative Makerspace blog, found at creationstationery.com. Library blogs. The library has 5 blogs we'd like to draw your attention to. There's the Book Club for Adults blog, which is found at SSCLbook.club, and is pretty much what you would expect. It's information about the monthly book club for adults. There's the Corning NY History blog, which is our local history blog, which is found at corningnyhistory.com. Creation Stationery, the Creative Makerspace blog, found at creationstationery.com. Story Musings, a blog hosted by the library's resident author and head of adult services, Michelle Wells, which is found at storymusings.blogspot.com. And Tech and Book Talk, a readers, viewers, and listeners advisory blog, which you may have guessed is hosted by yours truly, which is found at sscltech.com. And briefly, our references of the week and our catalog information. And that's the program for this week. I'll be back next week with a new edition of Library Connections. Have a great week.